In 1915, the Germans first used poison gas on the Western Front, but now it was time to try it on the Eastern Front. Now, after Russia made some advances against the Austro-Hungarians and then Germany making some advances against Russia, the world could really see that Russia wasn't the best, but they would hold out at a familiar fortress called Osoweic Fortress. Lead up to Osoweic Fortress was your standard trench warfare. Your Russians are getting pushed back, and then they're held out at Osoweic Fortress. A small garrison, but this fortress was impregnable to German attacks. So, what did Germany use to flush them out? They used their newly invented poison gas. Now, since gas shells wasn't invented yet, they had to rely on the wind. Now, the poison gas at Ypres, well, it relied on the weather. They opened the drums, let the weather carry it towards the enemy trenches, and then the soldiers would asphyxiate themselves from the gas. The same happened at Osoweic Fortress. Hundreds of Russians died, hundreds of Russians were left permanently scarred. Or so the Germans thought. Once the gas attack had happened and the Germans were moving up, wearing gas masks of course because they didn't want to be caught in any residue, they saw something. Something from the smoke from shell fire. There were these figures. Now, these figures were human size, but they were screaming. Not in pain, but as a war cry. It was the Russians held up at the fortress. The Russians had tied rags to their faces, blood spilling from their throats, blood spilling from everywhere. But they charged the German lines. It was an attack of the undead soldiers. The Germans were scared so much that as they were running back, they even trampled some of their own soldiers. The Osoweic Fortress siege was over, and I just thought I'd like to tell the story because it's one of those ones that people don't really remember. So if you are a Russian and you do have a relative that was held up at Osoweic Fortress, that's what happened. So that was a quick little short story that I wanted to tell about one of the greatest Russian charges of the war. Let me know what you think about Osoweic Fortress in the comments below, and I'll see you next time for the weapons that the Russians were using during the Great War.